Welcome to the Character Deep Dives, where we deep dive the characters that shape unforgettable stories. Today, we are diving into one of the most memorable characters from George Orwell's Animal Farm, Boxer. He's the hard-working, loyal, and honest horse who gives everything for the revolution and the animal farm. But sadly, his story doesn't end the way he deserves. After fighting so hard for the animal's cause, he's betrayed and sold off to be slaughtered by the very leader he trusted. And here's the heartbreaking part. Boxer doesn't just die once. In a way, he's killed twice. Let's break it down. For those of you who haven't read Animal Farm yet, here is a quick summary, and if you already have, think of this as a little memory refresh. The story kicks off at a manor farm run by Mr. Jones. He's a neglectful farmer who's lost interest in running the place after a failed lawsuit. His workers have gotten lazy too. Meanwhile, the animals are overworked, underfed, and treated horribly. Tensions build, and the animals start holding secret meetings, quietly planning a revolution. Then one day, things explode. Mr. Jones forgets to feed them for 2 days straight. Starving and furious, the animals finally snap. Even though they are whipped as usual, this time they fight back. They kick Mr. Jones and his men out of the farm once and for all. From that moment, Manor Farm is renamed Animal Farm, a farm run by animals, led by the cleverest of them all, the pigs. But as time goes on, the pigs betray the others, slowly turning into the very master they once overthrew. The cost of animals is huge. Chickens, ducks, sheep, cows, horses, donkeys, goats, dogs, pigs, even the cat, the rat, the crow, and the pigeons all have their part to play. Horse Boxer's life experience after the rebellion succeeded and Mr. Joe's attempt to take back the farm failed, the animals began planning. Their biggest dream was to build a windmill. Everyone was proud and worked hard, but no one worked harder than Boxer. Meanwhile, tensions grew between the two most powerful pigs, Snowball and Napoleon. Snowball, the more idealistic one, was eventually chased out by Napoleon, who ruled with violence and fear. Boxer couldn't really understand what had happened or why Snowball, once a hero, was suddenly declared a traitor. He thought long and hard, but in the end, he came to a simple conclusion. He would just work harder. That was the only thing he believed he could do for the farm. Whenever Boxer sensed that something wasn't right, like when Napoleon's dogs attacked him after he asked a few honest questions, his answer was always the same: work harder. To him, work hard was both his duty and his proof of loyalty. Boxer threw himself into the construction of the windmill and looking forward to a quiet retirement in just 2 years. But tragedy struck. He was injured and collapsed, unable to get back up. The pigs promised the other animals they would send him to a veterinarian, but instead Napoleon arranged for him to be sold to a slaughterhouse. By the time Boxer realized the truth, he was already locked inside the truck. He tried to kick his way out with the last of his once great strength, but it was no use. Boxer's story is heartbreaking. He worked tirelessly his whole life, only to be betrayed and slaughtered. And the cruelest part, even after his death, Napoleon used the boxer's name as a propaganda, telling the others to work just as hard as the boxer did and to trust Napoleon the way boxer always had. So why did Boxer's tragedy happen? A big part of it lies in his character. Let's break it down into 3 pieces. First, Boxer couldn't really think for himself. Boxer struggled with reading and could barely get past the letter D. As the book says, once he accepted the pigs as his teachers, he never questioned them. Whatever he was told, he absorbed without doubt and passed along to the other animals in the simplest way he could. And that's dangerous, because what if what he's told isn't true or is only half true? That's exactly what happened later. The pigs, who started as teachers, slowly began acting like humans and betraying the very animals they once claimed to liberate. What could a horse like Boxer do in the face of that? Nothing. There's even a small but telling moment after the rebellion when the animals burned everything that reminded them of Mr. Jones. Boxer threw his straw hat into the fire. That hat protected him from flies in the summer. It was useful, but he burned it anyway because he couldn't decide for himself what was good or bad. He simply followed. Second, Boxer was loyal to a fault. During the preparation of revolution, Boxer was always present at secret meetings in the barn and even led the singing of a Beast of England. If the pigs had truly led for the good of the animals, then having 100 Boxers would have been a blessing. The farm could have thrived. Pig intelligence combined with horse strength, but under corrupt leaders, Boxer's loyalty became dangerous. Who would left to protect his basic well-being or even safety? No one. And when Snowball was expelled, Squealer, Napoleon's propaganda pig, twisted the truth day after day. Boxer sensed that something was wrong, but he never found the word to resist. Instead, he adopted a new maxim: Napoleon is always right. Now you might ask, didn't he have smarter friends to help him think things through? Actually, yes, the donkey Benjamin. He could see the truth clearly and often stayed by Boxer's side. But Benjamin never explained much, and Boxer never asked. Was Boxer so trapped in his own blind faith that he didn't even think to ask for help? Or was Benjamin too cynical to intervene? Either way, it's tragic. Interestingly, Clover the mare did better. Whenever she doubted something, she tried to check the 7 commandments on the wall. She couldn't read well, so she asked Muriel the goat for help. The commandment had already been secretly changed by the pigs, so she still got the wrong answers. But at least she asked. Boxer didn't. Third, Boxer's devotion to work. Boxer worked himself to the bone for the windmill. He felt proud of it, as if it was his personal mission. But here's the painful question: why was building the windmill more important to him than his own health? Working harder didn't mean better food or better hair. In fact, it only broke down his body. The truth is, this was propaganda at work. The pigs made him believe the endless labor was his honor and duty, and that blind faith, loyalty without questioning, is what led him to his tragic end. At the end of the day, Boxer's life is a tragedy. After working himself to the limit, he was slaughtered almost as if his fate under Napoleon was no different from what it would have been under Mr. Jones. Was there really a difference between the two farms for Boxer? Honestly, not much. The only thing that changed was that Boxer convinced himself he was free because he absorbed the slogan, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. In a way, he fooled himself, and that false sense of belonging was all he really gained. Boxer never managed to learn beyond the letter D. He tried so hard, and he even dreamed of starting more after retirement. But that day never came. His lack of education wasn't from laziness. He was determined. He just didn't have the ability. And that's the heartbreaking truth. If animals like a Boxer had good leaders like Snowball, who had both intelligence and compassion, maybe their hard work could have built something real. But under Napoleon, all that loyalty and labor was only ever going to end in misery. And here is where I stop and wonder. He had Benjamin, the donkey who saw the truth all along. He had Clover, who at least asked questions when she doubted. And even among the pigs, there were some who quietly disagreed with Napoleon, but they didn't have the strength to stand up to him alone. Maybe if Boxer had joined forces with them, his strength and their voices could have made a difference. Could he have turned to them instead of struggling in silence? Could Boxer's story have been different if he had reached out? Maybe, maybe not. But in the end, Boxer's silence sealed his fate. And that brings me to us. Have you ever felt stuck like Boxer with no one to turn to? I know I've been there before, and here's the thing, it matters who you talk to. Sometimes your fate can be shaped by whether you reach out to a smarter friend, a supportive community, or someone who can guide you. Boxer didn't do that, and that's part of why his story ended in tragedy. So, if there's one lesson from Boxer's life, it's this. Don't carry your burden alone. Question what you are told. And when you feel lost, don't just work harder. Find the right people to talk to. That might just change everything. What about you? Do you think Boxer could have avoided his ending if he had spoken up or asked for help? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for diving deep with me. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. You won't want to miss the next episode. Want more character deep dives? Check out my other videos. The links are right here. See you soon. Until then, stay tuned and keep deep diving.